Hi, everybody. It's Donegie here with You Do You Unfiltered. Remember, it's unfiltered, so we can swear.
Let's go.
And I'm here with this beautiful man, and he's going to tell his name because I'll probably just do it no justice. Go for it.
My name is Deece Casillas.
And that's Italian?
Uh, Funny you say that. No, it is it is actually Spanish. I'm Mexican.
Okay.
Yeah. It's so funny because I have a joke about in my set about how people always think my last name is Italian. Um, yeah.
Well, let's get into it because you have a crazy story because I think you didn't wake up one day and go, I want to be a comedian. I roll out of bed saying I want to be a comedian, did you?
Yeah, well, yeah, and more probably closer to that story than other stories, honestly. I mean, I did always love comedy. I just never really knew how to make that path happen when I was a kid, I grew up in South Central L.A. in the 80s. For anyone who isn't familiar with that region or that time frame, go listen to NWA's first CD and you'll get a good idea of what was happening. It was the height of gang violence, height of the crack epidemic, the height of police violence. It was, the Rodney King, the LA riots, that type of era. So it was crazy times, lots of gangs, lots of drugs. And for me, that was just normal life. It was just seemed like I didn't know the difference. When you're a kid, you're like, this is my reality, I just live here.
Oh, it's cool.
Yeah, you're like, I don't know what
Right.
other places
Yeah.
are like. You just think it's all the same.
Hmm.
And really, I always wanted to be, as long as I could put pen to paper, I wanted to be a writer. That's what I really still to this day in my heart, I'm a writer. I still do a lot of writing. Some of it goes to stage, some of it goes to scripts, some of it goes to other things I'm writing. So, I've written books and all kinds of stuff. So I did accomplish that goal. But I did always love comedy. Even as a kid, wanted to, I would pretend. So my mom would just like go to the bedroom and pass out. My dad would sit on the couch and drink until he passed out, right? So what
Right.
I would do then when he would wake up at like 4 a.m., he'd scoop me up from the living room floor and he'd take me to my bed, put me to sleep. So what I did is I figured out early that if I would pretend like I was asleep on the floor, he would leave me there until he passed out, then woke up in the middle of the night. So once he passed out, I would wake up. I would not wake up. I wasn't asleep. I just like pop up, pretending like I was asleep for however long I needed. Then I'd pop up and I would watch TV all night. And I would watch, I mean, young, 7, 8 years old. I'm watching Saturday Night Live. I'm watching The Tonight Show. I'm watching like these stand-up. They used to do this stand-up spotlight on the weekends on VH1 that I would watch. And
Mhm.
just remember watching all this and like some of it I get, some of it was a lot of it was probably over my head, Um, but it just was enthralling, these people up on stage and making jokes. And I was always the funny guy around and always,
Mhm.
like my parents used to have these parties at the house and there'd be a million people just drunk around the house. And I'd be running around like just just talking to people because like they didn't know where we were. So I was just doing whatever I wanted. And I'm like, what I realized later is like I was like running material on these people. Like I was open micing on these drunk 30-year-olds, in my parents' house, just really like, hey, so yeah, what's the deal with airplane food? Just like having these conversations and they were all laughing. And it was just such a crazy experience. And yeah, so I mean, I always did love comedy and I always wanted to get to do that. I just never knew how, I
Right.
never knew there was like, I didn't know the path you take. Like to be a writer made sense in my head. Like I write a book, I submit it to places. Hopefully people like it, they read it, like there's this whole process, but it's like be a
Ah,
comedian. How do I'm not famous. I can't get on the Tonight Show. Like I didn't know you go to an open mic and you do material I had no clue.
right. Yeah.
Um, so I spent most of my youth pretty wayward doing, things, various things that I may or may not be able to talk about depending on statutes of limitations. Uh,
Well,
and
it's unfiltered. It's unfiltered.
yeah,
No
well,
kidding.
some things they can still get you for. I don't know if enough years have passed. So, but in and out of involved in gangs, in and out of jail, and dropped out of school when I wasn't even in high school. I was in junior high school. I was 15. Moved out of my parents' house and just kind of was on just out doing my thing. And really just in and out of trouble, jail, just bad
Bad
stuff.
stuff. Bad stuff.
Um, yeah, and eventually I kind of pivoted at around 23 years old. I just got away from everything I used to do. I made big changes in my life. I wanted to um, I changed where I lived. I changed the people I hung out with. I started changing the music I listened to. I started reading books on Eastern philosophy and Taoism, Buddhism, doing yoga, meditation, like anything that was different, just a complete juxtaposition from what I had been doing because figured it couldn't hurt
Right.
to make a change. And it'll filter out the stuff that works and helps will stay. The stuff that is just kind of fluff will go to the side. And yeah, I did. And that's when I uh, kind of fell into running my own consulting company. I became an independent consultant and marketer. Um, did that for a while, was successful at it. I was doing great, making six figures a year, had a house in California, house in Mexico, killing it. Um, but it wasn't what I wanted to do. It was boring, I didn't, it was
Boring.
unfulfilling.
Yeah.
But it was fulfilling and the stable and the money was good. But I was in the process of writing a book, which ended up being the first book I published. And then I was going to this bar I used to hang out at where they were doing an open mic, and I'd go to just watch the open mic.
Right. Yeah.
And one week after the show, I was hanging out with the guy who ran it, and I'd always talk to him, and he's like, "Oh, he's like, you're funny." He's like, "You ever think about doing this?" And I go, "Oh, I guess I don't know, yeah, but I don't know, I don't," because I didn't know that those guys were like me. I didn't know the people at the open mic were just random dickbag off the street. I thought they were. I didn't know if they were.
Professionals.
Yeah, I had no idea. Um, and he goes, yeah, he goes, next week, come down. He goes, I'm signing you up. And I'm like, okay. And I next week, I kind of went home and I looked through because what I didn't realize is that my whole life I've been writing and a
Mhm.
lot of stuff that I wrote, I wasn't writing like a story necessarily sometimes. Sometimes I was just writing ideas and things that I thought were funny concepts or like, this is funny. I don't know where I'm going to use it, but I'll find a way to shoehorn it into a script or a sketch or a book and find like interesting dialogue or something.
Right.
But when I started looking at a lot of these things, this book I had of all these random things that didn't fit anywhere, I realized I'm like, oh, these are jokes. I've been writing jokes. Like I have a joke book. Like before I even walked on stage, I had a joke book of a million things that I've been writing my whole life. And some of it I had to adjust, some of it you massage a little, some of it, was already all there. So I didn't even realize I've been writing, like stand-up comedy. And so I started doing that.
Hey,
And
a minute here.
what's
Did you
it?
get on stage? Were you scared shitless? Like,
No, I'm pretty dead inside. I don't I'm like a robot. I
yeah.
don't really have much of a pulse. I actually have this weird thing where I don't really have like my resting pulse is like probably like 48.
Are you dead?
Um, yeah, I know that's what my doctor said, actually. They're like, so my resting pulse is very low. I grew up like I mean, fighting in ways you shouldn't be fighting, but I was also a boxer. I grew up boxing. And I did, I got into kickboxing and I did MMA and I've done some
Yeah.
jujitsu and stuff. So like, I
Okay.
was a trained fighter. So like I think a lot of that transfer, or maybe I don't know, chicken or the egg scenario, but like I'm very good under pressure.
Right. Yeah, yeah.
You know, people always say that, you know, that weird thing of like when things get crazy, it slows down. And like that's real. Like when the things get crazy, like literally it starts to slow down for me. And I have those moments. My buddy used to tell me, he's like, Deece, you're the only guy I know that the crazier things get, the cooler you get. Um,
That's perfect though. That's perfect.
so yeah, so with comedy, I wasn't really scared. I wasn't really nervous. I was more like interested
Yeah.
because I was interested on, you know, the mechanics of it. And that was really the crazy, was like interested in like really focusing on what was working and how and where you change words because it is like it's like an algorithm, it's a formula, you know,
Yeah.
and you can have all the correct numbers but be putting them in the wrong order
Right.
sometimes, you know.
Yeah. Because that
And
has to be a flow, right? Doesn't have to be a,
right.
yeah.
Yeah, there's a flow to it and a formula to it. So it was really just intrigued on finding out what that was. And you know, for a long, it wasn't even that I was thinking like, oh, I'm gonna do comedy for a
Hmm.
living. I just enjoyed it, but I was doing it a lot and focusing on this book mostly. And then I started doing comedy more. And then as I published the book, I was looking for paying writing gigs and I found some comedy writing gigs. And I'm like, oh, well, I can write comedy. I do that. So I started doing that and I started getting paid to write comedy. Um, and did that for a long time and didn't do quite as much stand up. I did more comedy writing, sketch, some improv. And then um, kind of eventually I moved back into doing stand up. I moved to an area that had a really big club and they asked me to start doing stuff and I started doing stuff with them. And then it kind of, you know, the trajectory of my career really kind of went crazy pretty fast. And yeah, now I'm a full-time comedian, have been for a long time. Um, Get to travel the country, travel the world doing shows. I own my own production company, The Social Hour Comedy. We produce live comedy events across the country at about 40 different venues in I think 20 states currently.
Not
Um,
Canada.
what's that? Not in Canada. No, no. They don't let scoundrels into Canada, it turns out. The uh, Not in Canada, just in America. I don't know the tax. I think the tax thing would screw me too. I don't know what I don't want to deal with the taxes in another country. I only know how to scam the taxes in America. I don't want to
You
deal
want
with
to
how.
do it up here?
Yeah, I don't want to figure out how to scam Canada's tax system either.
Well, if
Uh,
you did it, you go to jail. It's a really small sentence. We don't
sure, yeah, yeah.
first,
I
first
don't know.
get 5 years up here. Like, come on,
Get
slap
a
on the wrist.
couple loonies and toonies, throw them at
Oh
them,
yeah.
good to go. The And yeah, and I did, you know, and comedy's been going gangbusters. I released a special last year, Not Your Cup of Tea. It's available on my website, Deece
Which I'm going
Comedy,
to put on
who
there.
wants
Yes,
to
for
check it
everyone to
out.
go and take a look. Absolutely.
And more recently, so I've, you know, been wanting to do I finally took the time to do my kind of bucket list project and create a comic book
I
that
saw
I
that.
would
Tell us about that. I want to know what that's.
so that is called Kill Stan. It's going to be coming out in late 2024.
Where'd you get
It-
that name from?
Yeah, it is. It's actually an homage to Stan Lee, who is one of the innovators and main creators of the modern Marvel universe. He helped create the X-Men, Avengers, Thor, not Captain America, but Spider-Man. Just a ton of, he's kind of like the godfather of
Yeah.
modern Marvel comics, which started, or comic books, which started in the kind of late 50s.
Yeah.
Uh, so yeah, so I used the name Stan, and it's a neo-noir crime thriller, I would describe it as. It's kind of it's a thrill ride for sure, but also it's more a psychological journey um into the psyche of someone who has lost everything and kind of the depths we go to when we have nothing left to lose.
Is this a
So
series? Like going to be a comic book series and stuff?
it's going to
And
be a
are
10
you
issue.
doing the drawings?
It's a 10 issue series. We've got the first one coming out at the end of the year. Our Kickstarter goes live on September 15th, so in about 12 days.
Well, I was gonna say, yeah, soon.
Yeah. So if you want, go check out the Kickstarter. You can look at Kill Stan on Kickstarter, follow the campaign. You can donate. We've got some really great rewards you can get. You get a copy of the book. The book is amazing. I think everyone will love it.
You put that too. I'll put that on the website too, for everyone can go from the
Yeah.
podcast there too as
Yeah.
well. Yeah.
Inferno.earth is the website. Inferno.earth is the Instagram. Inferno.earth is the Facebook. So you can follow us everywhere and get
Infernos.
updates. Yeah.
It's all Inferno. It's all Inferno.
Inferno. Well, that's the Inferno is the name of the what I named the comic book publishing company we're doing. So
Oh, that's it.
um,
Okay, good. That's great. I
yeah.
love that. That's great and fun.
Yeah.
That's fun.
So yeah, and I did not do the art. I hired someone to do the art. I did a lot of art direction. I do a lot of sketches. I do a lot of what they call like breakdowns.
Yeah.
So like panel breakdowns and character
Yeah.
breakdowns. So
Yeah.
the artist knows what the panel should look like. And then he goes through and does it. Honestly, he's far more talented in the art department than I am, and he can do it a lot faster than I can.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing is just it would take me, I mean, months to do what he could do in a
Yeah.
couple weeks. So
It's these kids, these young kids, they like that. Like,
yeah, yeah.
no.
He's actually a guy out of Brazil.
Oh,
He's super talented. And yeah, so we're working on this series. And then I've got another one that I'm going to do after this one, and another one after that one, and another one
geez,
after that.
got a
So
lot going
yeah,
on. Get a big
yeah,
plate.
yeah.
Huge, huge
Got it.
plate. And now
Got
you
it.
have a family. You must have a family.
I do not have a family.
You're single, so we put that out there.
I was abandoned in a river as a child. No, I mean, I do have parents, and I have a girlfriend, and we have some dogs and some chickens and a cat.
Chickens.
Chickens, we have chickens. Yeah, we've got a little mini farm here in Texas.
This is
Um, So
chicken.
yeah, we've got chickens
Cats
and
and
a cat.
dogs.
Yeah, one-eyed cat. Um, yeah,
Okay, what's his name? If he's got one eye, he's got a fun
her
name.
her her name is Mochi.
Oh, gee.
Yeah.
Okay, why?
It's because my girlfriend got to name her and I didn't
Didn't
I
have any
wasn't gonna
input.
argue. I didn't care. Yeah, yeah, it was just her it was just my girlfriend's inner child who never got to have a cat, finally having
Ever.
a cat and naming it Mochi. Like that's what she would have named her cat at 6 years old. So I think it was just still embedded in there.
And the dog's name? I want to know the dog's name. If you got a
Uh,
Mochi, you got to have some kind of cool name.
our dogs' names are Cash and Roswell.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
After Johnny Cash? No, I'm just kidding.
No, I don't know. She had the dog before we met. I don't remember why his name's Cash. Roswell, we found in Roswell, New Mexico.
Oh, that makes
So
sense.
that's why he was just a little puppy abandoned on the side of the highway.
Oh.
Yep.
And you
Scooped
picked
him.
it up. I see a lot of those, like on TikTok, like people just picking up puppies strictly in the US, in Mexico, never up in Canada.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah,
That's crazy.
it's when you
Okay,
got a
I gotta
call.
ask you though, because when I asked you, tell me something quirky about it. You said you have over 100 cousins. Like,
Oh, yeah, I do. I do. That's true story.
okay, are they all first cousins?
No, not all of them, but I mean, if we're talking just first cousins, it's still probably uh 20, 40, 60. It's probably still like 70 first cousins, I bet. Um, and then I bet if we're talking second cousins, it might be in the hundreds actually.
Well, that's what it said, hundreds.
Yeah, yeah.
100.
So
So
yeah,
is
when
it
you
both on your mom's and dad's side, not just one side?
yeah, mostly my dad's. My dad's
Okay.
is bigger. My dad's from a family of 14. My mom's from a family of 10. Um,
Your poor grandmother.
yeah,
And
she's a real whore, that one.
I was
Uh,
gonna say, yeah,
just couldn't
or
stop,
I'm just kidding.
couldn't stop putting out.
We won't let her listen to that at all.
Yeah.
And so you have lots of cousins, family's huge, spread
Mhm.
everywhere in the US, everywhere.
No, no, not everywhere. I mean, for my dad's side, we're mostly in California and Texas.
Uh-huh. Okay.
There's probably a couple somewhere else, but the
Okay.
majority is California and Texas.
Right.
On my mom's side, it's mostly the Pacific Northwest, like Washington, Montana,
Yeah.
Washington,
We're
Montana.
going up north towards
Yeah,
Canada.
yeah, towards you guys, your
You might
neighbors.
have one or two up here somewhere.
Maybe. Yeah,
Just don't do ancestry.com, then you'll have 7 bazillion cousins.
yeah. Oh, believe me, I have more. It's crazy. I mean, I've got I've got aunts and uncles down in Mexico that
Huh.
have parts of the family that, it's been a long time since I was down there, probably 20 years in that part of the country anyway. And yeah, I have aunts and uncles down there that with kids and more kids that I don't even know. So like I couldn't even count those ones. So
Imagine if you had a family reunion. Holy.
oh, yeah, we used to when my grandma was alive. We'd have the craziest, everyone would get together and but once the matriarch was gone, everyone kind of went their ways.
Happens. So I just want a quick question. So your jokes that you do a lot of family jokes? Because you have such a massive family.
I do talk a lot about my Mexican family and then my
Okay.
immediate family.
Yeah.
Growing up Catholic, which has a lot to do with my immediate family, and
Yeah.
then also my brother who converted to Baptist, and that's a
Oh, I guess.
interesting dynamic also.
Also, my brother went to Buddhism.
There you go. All right.
Like really white guy, bald guy, Buddhism.
Yeah, well, it's either Buddhism or the KKK when you're a white bald guy. So
Exactly. And
yeah,
he's ex-military, so he kind of looks like both. So, yeah, absolutely. This has been fantastic. I love hearing all about how you got started because I don't know anybody that's ever rolled out of bed and said, you know what, I'm funny. I'm going to write this down and I'm going to be a comedian.
Yeah,
Always
well,
had that dream of being a writer and you followed it. Look where you are now. Fantastic. So
what you gotta do.
you waved a little bit in the marketing, but you probably had that creativity for marketing too as well. So it helped.
Yeah. I mean, it was the creativity was definitely helpful and it was a good stopping point, but it was, always I was still moving. I mean, in my spare time, I was still writing and doing creative stuff. And then
Absolutely.
just, when that started taking off, I just kept following that little trail.
Well, and that's where you are. And then hopefully you'll come visit us up north, but not in February. Don't come in February.
Oh,
That's
believe me, I would not. It's okay. I don't go past, I don't go up that far, that north. I don't get out of the Southwest in between like, October and May.
I love it when
I'm
people ask me where I live in Canada. I said, right by Santa.
way up there, huh?
Way up there by Santa.
The Yukon.
Well, my girlfriend used to live in Yellowknife and we used to make fun of her because she would be in the dark for 6 months.
Oh my God.
Then she'd be in the light for like five, like the other 6 months. And
Oh,
we'd be
that
like,
sounds terrible.
yeah, vampire? Like,
Yeah.
but no, I'm in Edmonton. So it's kind of, we get it, but it's getting darker now at nighttime.
Yeah.
And this is not right. This is not
A little
right.
more reasonable.
A little bit short on the summer here. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's been wonderful talking to you. But I'm gonna put all your stuff so people can find your comic books, even your books too, wherever they can get your books that you've written to as well. And then
Uh,
have a schedule so people
Yeah, my calendar's on my website. I'll be all through the Northwest in leave next Wednesday for a couple weeks, about 2 weeks to be in the
we're in the
Northwest.
Northwest. Tell
What's
people
that?
where.
Oh, I will be in all kind of Western Washington. I'm doing a comedy festival in Seattle the 19th through the 21st. I'll be in Rockport, Washington, Yakima, Washington,
Wow.
Anacortes, Natchez, Belfair.
Like a
Uh,
like does your girlfriend go with you?
No, she's got to watch the chickens and the one-eyed cat.
The one and the dogs. Don't forget the
The
dogs.
dog. Yeah.
Dogs are fine. The one-eyed cat and the chickens. Okay, how many chickens do you have? Do you eat the eggs or do you eat the
We do.
chickens?
We just eat the eggs. They're all hens, so we just eat the eggs. And right now, I think we have 8. We just lost one, unfortunately. But I think we have 8. So we're probably gonna I think at our height we had 11. And we're down to 8 or 9 right now. We'll probably get a couple more here soon.
You look like
So
a donkey man. You need a donkey.
a donkey. Funny story. In 1929, my grandfather rode a donkey from Hotepec, Mexico to America.
Get out.
Yeah,
I
true
just
story.
pulled that out of my butt. Like I just pulled that out of my head.
Yeah.
Going, you look like
Yeah.
a donkey man. You need one of those cute little donkeys. Or
Actually, we're gonna get a donkey because we're looking at some property. Gonna get a bigger piece of property, some farmland, and start doing more farming.
well, then I want to interview you again about the donkey. If you get a
Yeah,
donkey.
we do want a donkey because they're great pest control.
Yes,
They're
they
great for
are.
yeah, they keep coyotes away and stuff like that.
I didn't know they kept coyotes away. We should
Yeah,
have
yeah,
a
they'll
donkey
kick
up
the
here.
shit
Right
out
up
of a
here.
coyote. They will 187 a coyote so fast.
I
They give it a
love
one-way ticket to the afterlife real fast. Those things
didn't
they
know
don't fuck
that.
around. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. So they're good. They're great to have in flocks if you've got like other animals that are susceptible to getting taken out by coyotes.
Like a
Put a
one-eyed
donkey in
cat
there. Yeah. Yeah, there you
and a
go.
couple of dogs and chickens.
There you go.
So you need some donkeys. I didn't know that because we have lots of coyotes in my backyard. They
Get a
sound like they're in my
donkey.
backyard.
Yeah. They're
Yeah,
also good companion animals. So
and
for
they're very
other
good.
like a solo horse or something.
Well, if you come up with, I want to name one of the donkeys. No, I'm just
All
kidding.
right.
Just kidding. I just want to see a picture of the donkeys. Well, it's wonderful talking to you. I look forward to, I hope you hit Canada one day. I'll come and see you in
Yeah, I
Edmonton.
haven't been up there in a long time. I keep
And
meaning
don't you have
to.
a
It
friend
just
up here somewhere?
yeah, in Edmonton.
What's right? Do you want me to go and call him up and say, hey,
Yeah, yeah. If you've ever if you ever seen a big ass hole in the ground, she probably dug it. She runs giant machinery and digs all these big and full holes for industrial like buildings and stuff like that. She's a real
working her
monster.
ass up here with the construction going on then? Bet
What's
you
that?
she's working
Oh,
her ass up here with the
yeah,
construction going on.
she's a hard worker, that one. So that
Wow.
yeah, she's but yeah. So she's up there somewhere digging a hole.
Well, probably I'll probably pass her on one of the construction sites. I'll wave. If it's a girl, I'll wave.
It is. Yep.
Well, it's been
Yeah, if you
wonderful
see her,
talking
then
to you. It's been
yeah,
fantastic
thank
talking to you. And let's catch up again. And here you are. And all his websites are going to be attached to the YouTube and the Spotify. And find his book and find his go to his website. If you're listening, he tours the US all the time. I'm assuming.
always
I just
always
actually
summer.
I just actually pulled your YouTube up and saw one. I was like, oh, his hair is shaved. Like, is it like you wear a hat? So, and this one
Yeah.
was shaved and you had the
Yeah,
hair.
it's all shaved right now.
Yeah, see, I thought I had to put my glasses on to watch it.
I've
But
always got I always got something going on,
yeah,
something
guys, you have to. You have to be fresh. But yes, let's do that and let's catch up again. And everything will be there and people can come and see you and or read your book or your comic books.
sounds great.
Yeah, thank you for joining me tonight. Or
Yeah,
this
thanks for
afternoon.
having
I don't
me.
know what time it is. Tonight?
Yeah, it's tonight.
It's tonight. Have a wonderful evening.
Thanks, you too.